In this lesson, we're going to review all the things that you need to know about quadratic functions to pass your Algebra 1 STAAR test. Now, quadratic functions are super easy, but there's a lot of important vocabulary that you need to know. So let's talk about that. So quadratic functions make this U shape that we call a parabola. There's a lot of important features that you want to know about it. So first, wherever we cross the y-axis is our y-intercept. That shouldn't be anything new. All of our parabolas will have a lowest or a highest point, like we do here. That point is called the vertex. If we draw a line down the middle of the vertex, like we do here, and we kind of split the graph in half, we can label this our axis of symmetry. Okay, axis of symmetry is just where we split the graph in half. Now we have 2 points where we cross the x-axis. I've got this point right here and this point right here. Both of those are called the same thing. They're called, and they can go by one of 4 names. It's called roots, zeros, x-intercepts, or solutions. All of those mean the exact same thing. It's just where does this graph cross the x-axis? If we draw a point horizontally from our vertex, like we do here, we're going to call this the minimum value of our quadratic function. Sometimes the graph may open downwards though, and so then the vertex would be at the top. If that's the case, we would call it a maximum if it's upside down. Let's use that information to work out a problem now. We want the graph of the parabola that goes through, that has the vertex at 146 and a point at 310. So what I can do is I can type in that point 310, and I see that I get that red dot there. And now let's type in our answer choices, and Desmos will give us a gray dot at our vertex. So A is y equals 9 times x minus 3 squared plus 10. So here I see that the vertex is 310, so that can't be my answer because that's not what I want the vertex point to be. Option B is y equals 9 times x minus 1 squared plus 46. So this time my vertex is at 146, but it does not go through that red point, so B can't be my answer choice. I've got y equals negative 9 times x minus 3 squared plus 10. Again, this doesn't have the right vertex point, so that can't be my answer. So option D is y equals negative 9 times x minus 1 squared plus 46. My vertex is at 146, and I do go through that red point. So my answer has to be option D. Here's a new question type where we're also using our key attributes that we just talked about. This time we want to know if this is a maximum or a minimum. Well, the graph is opening upwards, which means we have a minimum value, so I can click and drag minimum into the box. And now I want to know what that minimum value is. And remember, we're just going to draw a line from our vertex to our y-axis. So I see if I'm looking right here, I'm at negative 4, which means my minimum value is negative 4. Quadratic functions can also be transformed, and they have different equations that can go along with it. But you don't need to memorize the equation, you just need to see which 2 match in Desmos. So here it says that we're given f of x is equal to x squared. And if we even wanted to, we could make this into a dotted graph so it matches what we're given in the picture. But now we want to find a g of x where the zeros are at negative 4 and negative 2 because that's where we cross the x-axis there. And we also have the vertex at negative 3, negative 2. So let's plug in our answer choices. Option A says g of x is equal to f of x plus 3 minus 2. And I can see that I'm getting a graph because I earlier said that f of x is equal to x squared. So the Desmos is automatically transforming it for us. But I can see I'm not crossing right at 4, so A can't be my answer choice. Let's try option B. So I have g of x is equal to 2 times f of x plus 3 minus 2. And I get this black graph. I cross at negative 4 and negative 2, and my vertex is at negative 3, negative 2. So my answer has to be option B. In this question, we're asked to find the zeros, which if we remember is where we cross the x-axis. It's one of 4 names that can be used for our x-intercepts. So let's type in the equation. G of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x minus 5. And so I'm just looking, I even get gray dots wherever we cross the x-axis. So these would be my zeros, my solutions, my roots. Any of those terms would work. So I see that it's negative 1, 0 and 1.6670. So that means my options have to be A or B, right? C and D have a positive 1, so it can't be those options. And so now it's either 1.667 is either 3 over 5 or 5 over 3. And we can check that if we say 3 over 5 is 0.6 and 5 over 3 is 1.666. And if we round that up, it would be 1.667. So my answer has to be option B. We can also solve quadratic equations just like we would a linear equation. If I have an equation like this, I can take both halves of my equal sign and set them equal to y. So I can say y equals my left half, which is 5 times in parentheses x plus 3 squared, and I get this red parabola. And then my other side, my right side, would be y equals 75, and I get this blue line, okay? And so solutions, we're looking to see where these two intersect. And so if I click on my red graph, I get these two dots that show me the points of intersections. Now, if I look at my answer choices, they don't look very similar to what I have here. They actually look kind of scary. That's okay. Let's just plug in our answer choices and see which two match. And I'm saying two because all of our answer choices have this plus and minus symbol in there. Don't be scared by that. All it means is that it could be plus that or it could be minus that. So I'm going to plug in everything as just plus first. So answer choice A would be negative 3 over 5 plus the square root of 15. And I get 3.279, and that's not one of the two solutions that I had, so that can't be my answer. Option B is negative 3 divided by 5 plus the square root of 3. 1.3, that's not one of my solutions, so it can't be B. Option C is negative 3 plus the square root of 3. Negative 1.26 is not one of my solutions, so let's keep looking. Option D is negative 3 plus the square root of 15. And I get 0.87, which is my right solution. If I change this to negative, we can see it's negative 6.87, which matches up with my left solution. So my answer has to be option D. One more vocabulary term you should know is factor. And all a factor is a line that goes through the root, the zero, the x-intercept, or the solution, all where we cross the x-axis. So if I want to know what is a factor of 30x squared minus 4x minus 16, let's plug that in and I get my blue parabola. Sorry, you can't see the whole thing, but I'll show you why in a second. Now let's go through and plug in our answer choices. I've got 5x plus 4, and I get this green line, and that green line doesn't go through either of my x-intercepts, so I'm going to get rid of that. I've got 3x minus 2. This purple line doesn't go through any of my x-intercepts, so it can't be that. Option C is 5x minus 4, and I see that this black line goes right through one of my x-intercepts there, so I'll leave that one. And I've got 3x minus 4. The red line does not go through any of my x-intercepts. So that means my answer is option C because that's the only line that goes through one of my x-intercepts. Here's another new question type about factors. So I know that we have a quadratic function, and what this is saying is that when x is negative 3 over 2, y is 0, and when x is 5, y is 0. So what I can do is I can go and type in these points and say negative 3 over 2 is going to be 0, and I get a red point. And then I also know that 5, 0 is going to be a point, and I'll change this one to red as well so that we can see both of those. And now factors are lines that go through our x-intercepts. And I see that both of these are right on the x-axis. So let's plug in our answer choices and see which lines go through those points. So my first answer is x plus 5. That green line does not go through any of the points, so that can't be it. Now I've got x minus 5, and I get a purple line that goes through my first red point, or the one on my right. So x minus 5 has to be one of our factors. Now let's keep going. I've got 2x minus 3. This black line doesn't go through either of those points. My next one is 2x plus 3. And that red line does go through my left red point. So I can drag this. And those are my two factors of this parabola. I picked all of these questions on purpose because all of these questions had a very, very low percentage of students get these questions correct on their STAAR test. And I wanted to break it down to show you how easy all these questions actually are if you know what you're looking for. So I hope you found this video helpful. Now go pass that STAAR test.